What's going on YouTube? Penguin Duelist here, and today I'm bringing you a deck profile for Spellbooks. Now, this is more of a unique build for Spellbooks because it's not currently up to date with the ban list as of now. However, this is not a original build of Spellbooks either. It's a pretty unique build, so just a heads up, if you're looking for a current up-to-date Spellbook deck profile, this video is not for you, so go ahead and back out and go search elsewhere. There's plenty of deck profiles on the internet for that. If you want to find out more information of what I'm talking about in regards to it being more unique and not following the current ban list, but at the same time not being the original Judgment build, check out the video in the description below on this actual video here. Brief little backstory: I play more casually with my friends, and what we do is we build decks to where they were at their peak as original build, basically at their full power. However, we don't always run cards in that build of decks, such as Necros, for example, that we think is unfair or just not fun to play casually. So for Necros, we run 3 Preparation of Rites, but we won't run the Djinn Lock because it's just not fun, it's unfair. And while yes, you can argue that other cards we have in this deck, for instance, are unfair, we still think that other decks at full power have a chance. So if you want to get more information on that, go ahead and check out the video in the description below. But nonetheless, let's just get started on this deck profile for Spellbooks. So starting things off, we run 3 High Priestess of Prophecy. This is the boss monster. I'm not really going to go over each and individual card. Spellbooks have been out since 2013, so pretty much everyone knows what they do. Everything you're going to see in here is somewhat standard. But again, just keep in mind, this is not up to date to the current ban list. There will be cards in here that are currently legal, and it's a mixture, like I said, where you'll see like Spellbook of Judgment and be like, well, why is Regeki in there? That wasn't legal at the time. Just again, check out the video in the description of this video. But yeah, Spellbook, High Priestess of Prophecy. No explanation on why you run 3. It's just it's a must-have. It's a great card. Next up, we have triple Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, aka Blue Boy, aka the Stratos of the deck. Yep, searches for any Spellbook spell card when he's normal summoned or flipped face up. He works really well for Spellbook of Fate if you need to flip him back down. He works really well for Book of Moon. He's just a great card. So 3 of, mandatory. Next up, got triple Justice of Prophecy. Works great with Spellbook of Judgment. When Spellbook of Judgment got hit, she just pretty much vanished off of the face of the earth with deck profiles all across the world. She's great with Spellbook of Judgment. No reason to explain why. Great card. Next up, not part of the Prophecy archetype, but 2 Kaiku. Good for rank 4 plays. It's really rare that you'll bring out these 2 and keep them on the field enough to go into a rank 4 play, but it's there. And not just that, it's also great for the effect that it has if you're battling Necros. Banishing monsters from their graveyard after dealing battle damage of any kind with him is great. He's great against Sylvans, he's great against Burning Abyss, he's great against any deck that relies on their graveyard resources. Great card. Next we have Jalgan, the Spiritualist. Again, great card with Spellbook of Judgment. No need for explanation on this card either. Now moving into the spells, which there's obviously a handful of them. Spellbook of Secrets. This card, everyone knows what it does. You activate it and you can go get any Spellbook card. Keyword Spellbook card, not Spellbook spell card. So you can actually search for the blue guy, which is awesome. Next, we got triple Spellbook of Judgment. Don't dislike this video, don't hate me. This card is so good. I love this card. Everyone hates this card unless they play Spellbooks, obviously, but this card is just amazing. It's such a great card. It's so badass. It's just the amount of pluses you can get from this card is just fantastic. I have no need to explain that card. Next, we got triple Spellbook of Fate. Again, superb card. It's so versatile. The fact that it doesn't target and does not destroy is just phenomenal. It recently came back to 3, and sadly it's not, Spellbooks are still not seeing any play. I mean, there's, you know, at locals or some regionals you might see someone playing it, but they're still not doing well with it, which is a sad thing to see. But yeah, 3 of these, awesome card. Next you got 2 Spellbook of the Master. I see some people run 1, some people run 3 and 2. Like, it's kind of just one of those things, but I think 2 is pretty good. I think it's the best way to do it. It's really rare that Spellbooks will open brick. However, just like any other deck, you have the chance of opening brick, and it seems like anytime I do open brick, I always open up with this, with like no secrets or no blue boy, or, you know, just with one of these with like something gross like power or fate and like wisdom, and it's just, you're sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? But I think 2 is just a perfect number, and it's just a great card that you can go use it to copy power, use it to copy secrets, and just keep searching, keep thinning your deck out. Next we got 2 Spellbook of Power. Again, awesome card. It helps you get over big problematic cards with high attack, whether it's, a good example is like Cleafort Towers. When that was legal, that card was very fucking annoying. I hated that card, but this was a really good way to get over it. And also, if you destroy a monster by battle while this has power on a spellcaster you control, it can go search for another Spellbook card in your deck. So again, deck thinning, always good. Next we got Grand Spellbook of Tower, the field spell for the deck. I think 2 is the sweet number. That's just my personal preference, and I think it's actually pretty standard that people run 2, and I don't really see people running 1 or 3, maybe 3, but I don't think I've ever seen someone run just 1 of this. I think 2 though, again, is like the sweet spot for this card. Next there's 2 Spellbook of Eternity. Spellbook of Eternity, you just activate it and you can target one of your banished Spellbook spell cards and put it back in your hand. This works really well with High Priestess of Prophecy, with her effect to banish a Spellbook card from your hand or graveyard, and just being able to get it back right away works really well. So you've got like a Secrets or a Fate or Power or whatever you need, say in your graveyard, and you don't have a way to get it back in your hand. You can put Priestess out, or if you already have her out, you can just use her effect to banish to pop something on the field and immediately follow up with Eternity to just get it right back in your hand. So it's a really good card. But I think, again, like 2 seems to be the sweet spot for quite a few of the Spellbook cards. And again, 2 of Spellbook of Wisdom. Just like I said, 2 just seems like it works really well. I do hate when I open brick, and this is one of those cards, or even both of these, and it's just so annoying. It does happen, like I said, with any deck, but it's very rare. But when it does happen, it pisses me off quite a bit. But this is a good card against any spells or traps that are trying to target you or just trying to hit one of your spellcasters. It's a good way of protecting you. Next I run 2 Spellbook Star Halls. Everyone knows what this one does. When you activate any Spellbook spell cards, you put a counter on it, and for each counter, it multiplies your times 100 for your spellcaster's attack points. So really, really good card. I think 2's fine. You can run 1, or you can even go without any of these, but I just like running 2 of them because I like booting up my Spellbooks or my spellcaster's attack points. Next up, I've got just 1 Spellbook of Life. Spellbook of Life is a really good card. Again, no explanation needed for this. You just have to reveal a Spellbook spell card from your hand, banish a spellcaster from your graveyard to be able to use this card, and you special summon any spellcaster from your graveyard, whether it's Kaiku or the Magician of Prophecy or just High Priestess of Prophecy. Next up, I just have 1 Spellbook Library of the Crescent. I see people run 3 of these in the current build, which is fine. It's more of a personal preference. People just run 3 because, yeah, you can open up with multiple, but you can use the extra ones that you have mid or late game. If you're in a grind game, you can use it to just banish it for Priestess effect, and it's just another resource that it's just like, oh, this is worthless, so I can just banish it and not lose something important. So, but I just personally like to run it at 1. That's just me. Okay, so that's it for the Spellbook cards. There's quite a few of them, but now we've got 2 more spell cards. So we got 1 Book of Moon and 1 Rikeki. Again, this is not part of the original full-powered Spellbooks with Judgment, because obviously Regeki was not legal at the time. But again, just check out the video in the description below for more information on all this. There's going to be future deck profiles that are going to be very similar to this, where they don't follow the original and they don't follow the current. It's kind of mixing the two together. But these are pretty standard and no explanation for this. Book of Moon works great with Blue Boy. Being able to flip it down, and it's a quick play, which is great. If someone attacks in Blue Boy, you can chain Book of Moon, flip him down, and then they can redeclare, but usually they're just going to attack anyway into him, and then you get his flip effect to be able to search again for a Spellbook spell card, instead of him just being destroyed and taking a ton of damage, most likely because he has such a low attack. Next, we're going in the traps for the deck. We only have 3. We've got Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, and Vanity's Emptiness. All solid. Vanity's Emptiness just shuts your opponent down. Solemn Judgment does the same thing, but better. And Solemn Warning does the same thing, too. Shutting your opponent out is great. Being able to stun your opponent is very crucial in this game. So, now we're moving into the extra deck. It's kind of irrelevant, but at the same time kind of relevant. It just depends on the game you're in. So, I mean, don't take this as, like, you really need to follow it. Again, like, it's more of, like, rank 2s are important. The rank 7s are kind of important, too. Only because in today's game, High Priestess isn't what she used to be, obviously. She's a great card, but there's going to be times where you're facing like Cosmo, or you're facing Peppy, or facing Magispectors where you can't target or anything like that. She's not really that great. Yeah, you can give her more attack, just attack over things with like Power or Star Hall, or just clear the board with like Regeki, but again, it just depends what you're going against. It depends on the situation you're in. So the rank 7s are kind of good, but it just depends what you're facing against. So let's just go into it. We'll start with the rank 2s. We've got Daigusto Phoenix. I have Sky Cavalry Centaria. I have Herald of Pure Light. And I have Shining Elf. If you don't know what these do, go ahead and look them up. I'm not going to explain all these right now because the video's already gotten a little bit lengthy, so I'll just move those over there. Next, for rank 4s, we have Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer, Arc, Cowboy, Dark Rebellion, Abyss Dweller, and Rhapsody. All self-explanatory, just standard generic rank 4s. All these are for Kaiku. They're very rare that you go into them with Kaiku, but they're just there just in case. And last but not least, the rank 7s. Again, these are pretty relevant now, especially since High Priestess isn't as good as she used to be. So, again, you can put whatever you want, but these are all pretty generic. So you got Gaia Dragon, you've got Big Eye, you've got Dracosac, you've got Master Blades, and my favorite one, Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. This card is so good. It's such a great way to just shut your opponent out near end of the game. Say you got like your Priestess out and you beat your opponent down, but they just got maybe 1,000 life points, or they're just down to their last few life points, and then main phase 2, you just go into this thing and just let it sit on board and say go ahead. It just shuts them down. It's a great card. I love this card. So that's it for this whole entire video and deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I shall catch you guys later.